v'chachmasai, when a person follows his intellect and his cleverness, yuchal lipol b'tu'usim u'mechsholos rabim. He can fall into mistakes and many pitfalls that will come to very, very bad things, very big bad things, chas v'sholom. So let's just internalize the words that Rebbe Nachman says, that when a person follows his cleverness and his intellect, he can fall into mistakes that could lead to pitfalls or failures or obstacles or stumbling blocks that will lead to ra'is gedolos, to very bad, evil things. Now he says, v'yesh, and there were people, shekil kalu harba, that they did tremendous damage in the world, kegoin, like harashoim agdolim ma'oid hamafursamim, like these very big, famous rishoim, shehitu ha'sa'olam, that they misled the world. V'hakol hoya al yedei chachmasam v'sichlam, and all of that they did was all because they followed their cleverness and their intellect. So let's just stop here at the paragraph for 1 second. So Rebbe Nachman is telling us the following, that what is falling? He's really telling us how do we fall? And soon later he's more expressive about it. When we fall away from Hashem, it's because we are following our own seichel and our own intellect and our own cleverness. And what's the stages of falling? There are 3 stages of falling. It starts off with a mistake, and the mistake leads to failures, pitfalls, and then it leads to evilness. No one's born evil. A Russia is not born a Russia. He becomes a Russia. How did he become a Russia? Because he attributed, notice if you medayik on the words, the Rebbe says, Sichloi v'chachmasoi. He's not saying that Hashem gave us a gift of seichel and cleverness. He doesn't say, soon you'll see what he says, what we're supposed to do, but he's not telling you not to use your brains, but not to attribute any of your successes or in life or to your cleverness and your intellect. Because if you're going to do that, you're going to make a mistake. And if you continue to do that, the mistake is going to become a failure. And if you continue to do that, then that failure will become evil. And everybody can see this. Like, when are you challenged with this? So I think that I'm challenged with this from the second I wake up in the morning until I go to sleep, and maybe even when I'm sleeping. Why? How many times do we make decisions a day? Every second. Every second. Even if you didn't make the decision now, you made the decision once upon a time, and you just know that when this situation arises, this is what you do but there was a process to making your decision. Whatever decision you're making, you're going through a process. And soon we're going to see what the process is. But that means that you're challenged. There's a challenge in my process here that if I'm going to be following my seichel and my chachma, I could fall into mistakes that could lead to pitfalls that could become evil. Or maybe not. But it's a challenge. That means he's talking to you about something that's happening to you every second of the day. Now let's continue. Says Rebbe Nachman weiter. The Iker HaYahadus, the essence of Judaism, Hurak leilach betmimis upshitas belishum chachmas, is to go in a way of simplicity and innocence without any cleverness or any kind of sophistication. 1 second, we have to stop here because this is mamish. This is the typical. Now we understand why he was so controversial. The Iker HaYahadus, the essence of Judaism, the biggest thing. There's nothing more important. I would have said Emunah, Tefillah, Torah. What do you mean? That's how I learned in yeshiva. Comes Rebbe Nachman and says, no, I have a new thing to tell you. You know what the essence of a Jew is? Tmimis Pshitas. It's a bomb. So we have to first open space and say, wait a second, let's hear him out. Maybe he's onto something over here, but it's different. And my daughter was just telling me yesterday that she was reading in therapy, there's stonewalling. It's the first time I heard about it, when a person stonewalls, where they don't let you in, they don't give you any space because they're protecting They're afraid that don't stonewall this. Because you could stonewall it. Because what do you mean? What are you talking about? The Iker Judaism is Amunah. Maminim b'nei maminim. What are you saying? To me, Mr. Pshitas. So I'm saying don't stonewall it. Hear him out, because when you hear him, I think you're going to be not just fascinated in your mind, it's going to change your life. I think so. It changed mine, and it's changing mine. And now, he's saying, what is the way of a Jew? What is the way of Judaism? The essence of a Jew is to go in the way of simplicity and innocence without any kind of sophistication or cleverness. And now he's going to explain, he's going to say exactly what I mean. And to look at every action that I do. That there should be godliness in my action. And not to be concerned at all with self-glorification, self-pride, self-validation, self-esteem, anything self. He doesn't say not to have it, but he said that should not be, I shouldn't be concerned with it. What should I be concerned with? Rak im yesh bezeh kvod Hashem yisbarach yaseh. If I'm bringing honor to Hashem, then I'll do the action. V'im lav. And if not, then I won't do the action. So it seems to be very, very simple. What is Rebbe Nachman telling us? The way of a Jew is to see that in every action that he does, there should be godliness in his action, not to look at self-glorification, self-validation, self-pride, or self, but to be concentrated on one thing. Kvod Hashem Yisbarach. If there's Kvod Hashem in the action, then I do it. And if there's not, then I don't do it. Pretty simple. Va'azai, he gives aftacha. This is again Rebbe Nachman. Bevadai means for certain. There's no question that if a person goes in this way, lo yikashel la'olam, he will never be nichshel, he will never fail. Does anybody know what the feeling of failure feels like? I don't know about you, but whenever I do everything to protect myself from feeling that feeling of failure, I want to run away. I don't want to feel failure. So either I want to run away, or I convince myself and the world that I didn't fail, even when I did fail. And that's when you come to evilness, by the way. That's if you follow the 3 steps of falling, that's really what happens to us. That what happens is we make a mistake, and we don't own the mistake. And then we're challenged with it again, and then it becomes a failure. But if we can't meet that feeling of failure, so what we do is we say, we find a way to justify it. And when we do that, that's when we become evil. And any kind of justification, even if you did, it's evil first of all to yourself, but not only to yourself, but to others. Like Rebbe Nachman says, when a person continues on this way, not only is he hurting himself, but he will mislead the world. He'll mislead the people around him. He'll mislead the environment, or he'll be challenged with the environment. So this is something that we are mamish going through every second of the day. And if we are not aware, and we have no awareness on it, this is what we do. We justify until we won't fall into failure. Now that we know this beautiful, this is only the header of the Torah. I don't know how old you guys are, but I'm 54 years old. So 54 years of my life, most of the things, all of a sudden when I look back, I'm seeing most of the things were kvod atzmai. Even my ruchnis, even my spiritual things are about kvod atzmai. Even right this second, I'm here. It's about, hopefully you guys are going to like it, and you're going to say, wow, you did a great job. I'm going to feel really good about it. And then it's going to be kvod atzmai, even though I really wanted to be kvod Hashem. But it's a challenge. There's nothing that's not challenged. That means, what Rebbe Nachman is telling me is that I'm challenged. Sichlei v'chachmasai equals kvod atzmai. Tmimis upshitas equals kvod Hashem. The way to know if I'm doing kvod Hashem or I'm doing kvod atzmai is my action bringing glory to Hashem, or is my action bringing glory to myself? Is my action doing something in Gashmias? For sure we're challenged with this. But in Ruchnias, it's even harder. Because many, many times almost all the time, the things that we're doing is because of either peer pressure or competitiveness, or how is it going to look if I don't come to daven in shul and this guy knows it, and everybody knows what they're going through. And I'm not saying, mitoich shaloi l'shma ba l'shma. So we're not saying that you shouldn't do it, chas v'shalom. We're just saying that we need to change the chip. We need to change the place inside us. What is the compass? What is the GPS chip? The GPS chip that's within us, that's navigating us to do and not to do, is always k'vod atzmai. And we need to change that chip to the chip of k'vod Hashem. Problem is that I messed up so much till now with k'vod atzmai. How am I going to change that chip for the future? And even if I do change the chip for the future, what about the 54 years that I didn't have this chip? Says Rebbe Nachman weiter. Vafilu k'shenoifel chas v'sholom l'sveikis. So Rebbe Nachman is telling us now, this is even when you fall, and he's going to talk about falling. I told you this Torah is all about falling. Even when you fall into doubt, v'yesh, and there are those shenefilosai gedolim ma'oid ma'oid. There are those that fall, and their fall is very, very big. Rachmanu litzlan. Shenoifel, and he explains what do you mean that they fell so big. Shenoifel l'sveikis, they fell into doubt. V'hirhurim, and what's the word? Heretical thoughts. Umahara acha Hashem Yisbarach, till it became kfira mamish that he's mahara acha Hashem Yisbarach. Says Rebbe Nachman, afal pk, no matter what madrega of falling you fell, from the smallest madrega that started with doubt, that led to heresy is kfira. It's the thought of kfira, which we're going to talk about in a second. It's not even kfira yet. It's when, I have a hira avera. What's a hira avera? Hira avera means, we'll talk about it in a second. Says Rebbe, first, Afal became know that no matter what kind of fall, even if you're that guy that was mata, that misled the world, and you're that guy that you did all the bad in the world, that you got so evil, that not only you did evil to yourself, you're doing evil to everybody else, no matter what, know that this nefila is an opportunity for you to go up. No matter where you are, while your fall is an opportunity. Unbelievable, different concept. It's a whole different. Svarim bring nefila tzorach aliyah, that the purpose of I need to go down in order to go up. I once heard from my mashgiach, he said, Mount Everest, in order to climb Mount Everest, the mountain's not one slant, one slope from the top to the bottom. The way if anybody goes skiing, the mountain goes like this and like this. In order, if I want to climb up, a mountain climber that wants to get up to the top, the way to get up to the top is that you go up and down. Rebbe Nachman is saying something else. The fall, the entire fall, no matter where you fell, no matter how low you fell, there's a purpose to it. There was an intent to this fall. The intent is that it's an opportunity for you. The purpose of it is really to go up. The purpose of falling, every time we fall, why can't we just be, it's a beautiful, I'll tell you a nice word that I heard. The Gemara says that the ger came to Shammai. Everybody knows this famous Gemara. The Gemara says, Talamdeni is kol ha-torah kula al regel achas. Teach me the Torah on one foot. Shammai pushed him away. He pushed him away. And Hillel told him, what you don't like done to you, you shouldn't do to your friends. So I heard a Chassidish taich on it. The ger came to Shammai and he said, Talamdeni as kol ha-torah kula al regel achas. I see that Jews, Yidden, have aliyahs and yeridas. They fluctuate. They go one day, he's a Oved Hashem. One day, he's a galach, malach, galach, malach, galach, malach. I want to go al regel achas. I want to go without fluctuation. I just want to be, regular guy at 50 miles an hour all the time, on a cruise. So that Shammai told him, sorry, he pushed him away and he said, it's not shaykh. The world was created with aliyahs and yeridas. He went to Hillel and Hillel said, why the world was created, that we have to go up and down? Because there's no two people that are ever in the same situation. When your friend is down, pick him up. And when you're down, your friend's going to pick you up. So the reason why we go down these is we go through this journey. So Rebbe Nachman is telling us that we are going through these falls on purpose. There's a purpose to the fall. It's not, I fell off the bed and it's a mistake. It's not a mistake. The falls, and he says, Nefila v'hayirida. So I want to talk about two things before, because the next part of the Torah is going into the mechanics. I can go, but I feel like maybe, tafasta meruba lo tafasta, and let's just get this thing, at least let's talk about the fall. Let's get this part down pat. So Rebbe Nachman is telling us again, the stages of falling are that I make a mistake. The mistake leads to failure. The failure leads to evilness. And now he says that the fall that I'm falling is 3 steps also. It starts with doubt. The doubt becomes a hira until I'm a hara acha Hashem Yisroel. So let's try to see if these 3 correspond to the first 3 that he said before, which they do, for sure. But let's understand, what is the difference between suffix and hira? What's a suffix is a doubt, and hira, I don't know why I can't say that word. But heretical thoughts. What's the difference between doubt and heretical thought? Hira. Well, how do you? Well, that's anybody.
There may be a certain level of certainty.
What?
Maybe a certain level of certainty, or the belief of certainty. The doubt might be the intrusive thought. Maybe I can't do this. Maybe this doesn't work that way. Maybe there's another path on this. And the heresy is when you have a conviction to it.
Very good. So I like the way you just said it, because I'm going to use it, if you don't mind, because I'm not so good in my vocabulary and my English, but I went to yeshiva, so I didn't really. So the Rebbe Nachman says like this. So let's think about it. Doubt. Where is doubt? When I doubt something, where am I doubting it? In what part of my body? It's in my brain, right? When I'm doubting, and usually when I'm in doubt, it's usually 50-50. I'm not sure. I could give you both sides. That's what doubt is. Because if I had, what is hira? Rebbe Nachman says later, a hira is in the heart. Hira is hira lev. When the emotion gets involved with my doubt and it pulls to one side, whether it's a hira avera or a hira tshuva. We can have a hira both ways. We can have a hira to the positive, we can have a hira to the negative. But the heart, the emotion, is putting some. So I say like this is my perception. In doubt, it's 50-50. Once the emotion gets involved, it's not 50-50 anymore. Depending on the person, it moves up to one side. Mahara achar Hashem Yisroel. When we do an avera, an actual avera, what happens when we did the avera? We had to have said that Hashem is not in this place. Even if we believe that He's everywhere, but in order for me to be able to do that avera, I had to say that you're everywhere, but right now, I don't want to talk to you. I don't want to be conscious about that you're here. You're not here. I am now giving it, in that Maisa, I am giving it complete 100% to the tzad hashlili. Now, if I do a mitzvah, same thing. I'm going through its doubt, suffix, are you here, Hashem, or are you not here, Hashem? And now, I'm doing a hira tshuva, so I'm giving more. So now you'll help me in the English way of saying it, because I didn't say it with the high vocabulary that you said it. But so what he's telling you is these 3 stages. It starts with doubt. Everything we do and every decision, because even the decisions that you think you don't have doubt, you once upon a time had doubt. Mm-hmm. In order to get to that decision, you had to go through the steps of doubt before you made a decision, because you don't know. You don't know. So even if you had someone to teach you, you had to have doubt before the person taught you, and you believed that his way is going to be. And even when you did it, you weren't 100% sure that it was going to happen, that was going to be that way until you actually did it. So every process of every single decision is coming from a place of suffix. Suffix is not a bad thing, but I can make a mistake in a suffix. The Rebbe said it could fall into mistakes, because suffix means I have doubt. It's 50-50. Sometimes I'll do the right thing, sometimes I won't do the right thing. I could make mistakes. Mistakes, everybody makes mistakes. Anybody have a business, they know that any businessman knows, I used to say this all the time, is that mistakes, it's okay if you make it one time. If you make it a second time, that means it's not a mistake. That means because you didn't learn from it. So mistakes are part of growth. In order to learn, we make mistakes. But when the person doesn't want to own the mistake, and anybody familiar with that? Because I feel like it's everybody. We all have that challenge someplace in our relationships, in business, and definitely in avodas Hashem, where we don't want to own the mistake. And then what happens is that mistake becomes repetitive, and in order to, then we justify it. And we don't want to meet failure. Who wants to meet failure? So we justify it, and then that's when we become evil. That's when we become bad. So and that's when we do averos. So Rebbe Nachman is telling you, you know why you're falling, you know how you're falling. It all starts with one thing. You. Kvoid atzmai. It all starts that everything is about you and everything is around you and you're in front and center as the GPS to everything. And that's why you fall to mistakes, and that's why those mistakes become pitfalls, and that's how you become evil, because it starts with doubt that become, help me with the word, I can never say it, and till it becomes heresy, till it becomes kfira, mamish, in that place. But, so how do we change this? What are we going to do to change? When we start all of a sudden, gewalt, when you get this awareness, you start looking back and you're saying, Gewalt, where am I? Because everything is about me. Everything is about me. Come on, be honest. Everything is about me. Yeah, there's covered Hashem also, like we said, and it's true. I'm not denying. But we could live a higher conscious of trying to connect to not just be in the Shalai Lishma, maybe a little bit Lishma, and start changing that chip. How? Why should I? I'm so conditioned this way. I don't even know how I'm going to do this. So I don't want to, I feel bad. I know, because I could get carried away and I could talk for a very long time. My wife tells me all the time, so keep cutting. The rest of the Torah, first he goes through the mechanics to explain why the nefila is the tachlis of aliyah, and he goes in to explain to you how the world was created. And really, I'll just give you one little tidbit on it, but I'll bring you the Eitzah, which is really, we'll talk about the Eitzah outside. And I'm encouraging everybody. This is a gift. I'm telling you, the biggest gift that anyone ever gave you in your life, if you let it in, because if you use this Eitzah, you're going to change your life. Your spirituality, your connection to Hashem is going to change. And don't worry, you're not becoming Breslov. Just connect. Connect to Hashem. Yeah, I am a missionary, but I'm not trying to get you to be Breslov. I want you to learn His Torah, because if He could change me, He could change anybody. And I'm telling you, I'm changing. I'm not I still challenge, but I'm changing. I'm not the same person I was yesterday. Every day is a new day in avodas Hashem, and every day it's Hayom and Kollel Toras Chaim. Says Rebbe Nachman. Let me ask you a question. The creation, the world was created. Is that an aliyah or is it a yerida? The creation of the world, was it a aliyah, something to go up? Was it, or a yerida?
It's a yerida for the purpose of aliyah. Same as entering Eretz Yisrael.
Exactly. And so that's what Rebbe Nachman is going to prove. He's going to prove not only is the creation, but every blade of grass in the creation has a purpose. And the purpose, in order to go through that purpose, if we know how does a tree grow, you plant the seed. Do you know what happens to the seed until the tree grows? It goes through till it rots, till it mamish goes through Shiva Madurganim. How about human beings? Do you know how a human being is conceived? Mitipas rucha. What does it mean, tipas rucha? The Gemara, the Chazal tell us, ayin basa mitipas rucha. La'anat ha'olach le'afar rima v'seileh. What's a tipas rucha? Tipas rucha is seed that smells, that rotted. If you know anything, I don't, but if you do know about science of how it works, it has to go through the transformation of yerida. What came first, night or dark, day or night? We know night came first. Why? The Gemara says, first comes darkness and then comes light. The way the Eibishter created the world is the world is created with a yerida, with a nefila, but in that darkness is the light. It's not the darkness will bring the light. In the darkness is the light, and that's what Rebbe Nachman is telling us. And when he goes through the mechanics, he says that the origination of the creation of the Bria was where the HaKadosh Baruch Hu made yesh ma'ayin. There was nothing, and he had to create something from nothing. And the Arizal explains on a Kabbalah thing, and I'm not going to get into it, but that if God was Ein Sof, unlimited, infinite, how could something finite and defined be created from infinite? Because anything that infinite creates would also be infinite. How could there be definition? So he explains how it happened, which I'm not going to go into it right now, but the point is that when the Eibishter created the world, there was a vacuum. There had to be a vacuum of his light. There had to be a vacuum of his light because any little bit of infinite would be all of infinite. So he made a vacuum, and there's a machlokes how there's godliness in the world, but everything that exists in the world that is finite, there's nothing in the world that's forever. So everything has a definition, everything is finite, everything has a gvul, a boundary, even if the boundary is very big, but everything has a boundary. So the Eibishter made that he's here and he's not here. And that's why the game of hide and go seek is the game that Eibishter plays with us. It's not really a game, but he wants us to reveal him from this world dafka, from this Suda that we're eating now, and the materialistic part, from when we go to business and make masamat, and when we talk to our wives and our children and our friends and everybody that we meet, we have opportunity. The opportunity is to reveal Hashem's covet. Says Rebbe Nachman, when the Eibishter created the world, Bereshis in the beginning, everything was created, but there was no mimer. He didn't say. There was no vayomer. After Bereshis, there was vayomer lekim. God said, "Nasa Adam, let's make man." Tache arzdesha yihirakia. There was a mimer. Hashem said that this is the way it's going to be. Bereshis, there was no mimer. There was no one to talk to because there was nothing. That place of Bereshis is called a mimer, even though it's not a vayomer, because it's called a mimer asasim. It's a concealed mimer that's so concealed that we have no access to it. So the only way we can access that mimer, which is the origination of creation, is by saying, "Where are you, Hashem? Aye mekayim kavod. Where is Hashem?" By saying, "Where are you, Hashem?" you're really saying, "I know you're here, but I can't find you." Says Rebbe Nachman that when we're falling, how do we fall? We fall because doubt. And we said those doubts lead to mistakes, that lead to pitfalls, that lead to evilness, and make us do averos. Because what are we missing? There's a void. We are missing, every time we do something, we have a void that makes us, we don't want to feel that feeling. We don't want to feel that feeling of emptiness. We don't want to feel the feeling of failure. So if someone's an alcoholic, he drinks alcohol. If someone is, other things, he runs to other averos. Each person has different things that numb the pain of feeling. Some people run to torah. And it's an addiction also. We're all addicts, by the way. All of us. We are all addicts. It's an addiction too. But the point is, what are we running away from? We're running away from that feeling of void, that feeling of emptiness, that feeling of, where are you, Hashem? Says Rebbe Nachman, if you recognize that place and you say the words, Aye mekayim kavod, where are you, Hashem? I know you're here, but I don't see you, I don't feel you. That is the purpose of your fall. To come to that place of recognizing. Why? Because that's how the creation was created. And really, you're restarting and resetting the entire creation. But let's not go to the global thing. Let's talk about yourselves. So 54 years of life, and I was conditioned with following my own covet. I was conditioned in the way where, so how am I going to change it? You know what? I'm going to stop thinking with my seichel and my chachma that I could understand Hashem and I could understand my journey. I'm going to accept betmimes and pshitas. I'm going to just accept that acceptance that everything that I'm challenged with and everything that I'm going with, and even the negative feelings that I'm feeling and the negative situations that I'm inside, these are nephilas, and these are opportunities for me to say, what? Aye, Mekayim Kavoday. Where are you? I know you're here. Where are you? Please, Hashem, let me find you. And when you do that, you're going to see, and I'm telling you, it's Rebbe Nachman's Avtocha that he said, Bevadai lo yikosher lo olam. But I'm telling you, be'emes, that when you say Aye 100 times a day, because every time you're challenged, you're saying, Hashem, I know you're here, but I don't feel you. Where are you? Aye Mekayim Kavodah, you're going to see that Meloichal Arts Kavodah. You're going to look back and you're going to see in your challenges that you were challenged with today and yesterday and the day before, but you search for Hashem. You use the new GPS chip in your brain instead of yourself. You're saying, I'm challenged. I don't know where you are. I'm going to go to me. I'm going to go to Kvayt Hashem. No. I want to stay with Kvayt Hashem. So where are you, Hashem? And the Rebbe says, mitztayer umizgageo. You're yearning and you are in pain. Where are you, Hashem? And you scream, Aye! With that kind of a scream, guaranteed that you're not going to meet failure anymore. Guaranteed that you're going to see a different life. Everything is going to change. Your relationships are going to change. Your relationship with yourself is going to change. Your relationship with Hashem is going to change. Your relationship with everything that's happening. And when you come to an environment in Edison, New Jersey, and you don't know a soul beforehand, and you're thinking about the whole time on the way here, driving here, what am I going to do? And I say, I want to be a servant. I want to inspire people in the way that you're inspiring me to change my life. You're going to see a whole new world, and you're going to see opportunities, and you're going to see that every neshama that you just connected to in this place are neshamas that are going to serve Hashem. We're going to inspire and bring the geula shleima b'meher v'yameinu.
Amen. Thank you very much.